This is my second Session 0 video for In the Hope That We Are Loyal. I've gotten a much clearer idea of what I should be communicating, so I just want to reiterate some things and trim the video down. So first things first, what do you need to know about the setting? There are 6 races in this setting: Dragonborn, Orc, Halfling, Dwarf, Elf, and Human. Now of course there are half-elves and half-orcs, Aasimar, Genasi, Tieflings. The cultures and provinces in this setting are mostly divided up by those 6 races. Now there's no race that lives in isolation from all the others, and as time goes on there's more and more intermingling. The cultures and borders are denoted by the most common race within those borders. Now, since the last video, I have made a whole ding-dang Discord. This is filled to the brim with a bunch of information about all of the races, the provinces, cultures, factions, so I'm not going to go over that information in this video. If you're interested in a race, then go look through the Discord and try to find information on that race. Also, in the character creation, you can see what the representations of what the races look like in this setting under race references. This is a story about loyalty, about trust and faith, and how people are pulled in different directions, how they're deceived, how they're betrayed. It's about coming together and falling apart. So what I want to know is how you are tied to factions and cultures in this world. I don't expect you to dive super deep into the lore, but even without knowing that information, you can say, oh, I'm connected to a noble house. I'm connected to an important religious faction. I'm connected in these specific ways, and this is how my life is shaped by that. I want to know how the relationships with these factions and cultures influences this character. Are they blind to the faults of the people they belong to? Are they going to have a very rude awakening? If they belong to different parts of 2 cultures, if those cultures come into conflict, how will that character decide who to side with? It's these themes of loyalty and faith and trust and yada 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 that I want to see explored as you create your character. Is your character a mercenary who follows the biggest bag of gold? Are their allegiances fluid? Or are they filled with righteous conviction, and they will put their life on the line for the things that they believe in? Consider the rung of society that your character belongs to, and how that might shape their allegiances on the micro and the macro. I actually will talk about the cultures very briefly, just because I'm remembering players kind of mischaracterizing things, so maybe it's good to get ahead of that. People in the Orcish province worship the pantheon of life. This is objectively the most moral and good pantheon. People in this province do everything to serve each other and serve life. They have deep connections with the land and each other, and generally you'll find very kind people here. People in the Elvish province worship absurdity. The interpretation of the philosophies of this god waver a lot. Sometimes it's elitist, the perspective being everything is absurd and has fundamental flaws, and poking holes in other people's beliefs or other societal structures makes them better than those things. And other interpretations is because everything is absurd, you should let go of your attachment to knowledge and certainty, and stop trying to be something and just be. Elves are divided up into many territories with many houses, but generally they get along. Humans worship justice, and there are many different interpretations of what that means within the province, based off of which gods are worshipped in the pantheon. Sometimes justice can be cruel, sometimes justice means nurturing people, similar to how a life deity would. Similar to elves, humans are generally on the same side, but there's a lot of internal conflict. People in the Dwarvish province worship order. There's no inherent moral value to order. Although there is a sense of divine law, and laws are very important, there are a lot of things that this culture overlooks, either intentionally or not, and their primary goal is to seek greatness in a cosmic sense. People in the Halfling province worship hope, and there are a lot of different interpretations here as well. Hope is inherently uncertain. It's choosing to believe in something that you want to happen. There's an inherent sort of mistruth to a lot of hope, and so this creates space for a lot of lies in this province. This is a place where you'll want to watch your pockets. You'll find both the shadiest kind of people and the most idealistic and optimistic people here. In the Dragonborn province, they worship forgiveness. Forgiveness is a relatively low-ranking deity in the hierarchy of the gods. It doesn't provide a lot of structure, and around 60 years ago, the Dragonborn weren't in this province. They were part of a different empire that worshipped the 2 dragon gods. The view of this empire was that these 2 gods created a harmony, when in reality, these 2 gods ascended opposing each other. So many loyalists to this god of forgiveness fled and came to Philea, and they're still trying to find their feet. I hope that gives you enough information to get started, and I'll see you in game.